Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be talking about replacing our filter at our farm. Time of the year has come. Going to replace the filter on this oldest container here. It is pretty dirty, and we're going to be placing a new one and going over the whole process. So if you think that's interesting, you know what to do. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and go to cryptollc.org if you're looking to set up a Bitcoin farm. You want to build yourself a farm. You want to buy asics. We have one of the best prices in the industry. Great prices for new or used, and right now it's a great time to jump in as well. Bitcoin's at 66 as of right now, 66,000, and the ASIC prices are still good, especially for used miners. So if you want to jump in on that, you can do that at our site, cryptollc.org. And before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth and Jesus Christ saves your soul. All right, let's get started. So today's video, we're talking about the filter replacement. You see, we already took the filter off. The filter is being held down by these 2x2 pieces of wood. Just kind of hold the edges of the filter. The filter is just placed on these 2x4s, and then you got a little piece of 2x2 that just goes over the top, holds it down. We're also doing some tests in terms of airflow for a smaller version of the filter or a thinner version of the filter, and seeing how that impacts the airflow when it's going to be like 80, 85, 90 degrees and so on. But before we get to that, let's just go over our filter, our old one. Let me show you the old one here. So here's the old filter. This is the inside of the filter right here. This is what we see when you're inside the container, and then this is the outside of the filter. So you can see a lot of dust has accumulated on that filter. The brand new side right here, well, the side that was not used all this time. This is what it's supposed to look like, and then right there is where the air intake actually starts sucking. So you can see it's a big difference. But in terms of inside and outside, so again, this is the inside of the container. You can see that the filter looks dirty, but it's not deteriorated. So it's still holding everything. It's still holding all the garbage and everything. The filter just needs to be replaced to allow better airflow. But in terms of the filter quality, the filter is still good, especially when you look at it from the inside. It still looks like it didn't degenerate, degrade. It's not falling apart. It's not, the pieces are not being ripped off of it. Things like that. It looks in good quality, good condition, just used and dirty. So replace that, throw this away. We're gonna put on our new filter, same exact one, and this is what it looks like, brand new. Give you an idea of how thin it is. You can look from here. So it's like 3/4. Looks like a 3/4 filter. But we're going to be testing on this container is we're going to be testing the airflow. We're going to try to use a little thinner version of this filter. This filter is actually nice where it's made out of 2 layers like this. See that? It's got 2 layers on it. And so we're going to grab this filter, we're going to pull it apart into 2 pieces, and then we're going to use this thinner piece. So instead of 3/4, you're going to have a little bit less than 1/2 inch. So what is that? 3/4, it's going to be 25 plus 12.5. So 20, 35, 6, 7, so 0.37.5 of an inch. 0.37.5 of an inch. Both these sides here. And we're going to see how that goes for the airflow. Now, why are we going to be testing that? We're going to be testing that because we want to see if the airflow will improve. The filtration system, we already did this very thin filter system on one of our other farms, so we know that it's a good quality and it works, and we don't have to worry about the filter being thin. We already tested that out. What we're testing is we're going to be testing when we put the filter on, how much restriction is that going to have on the airflow for the miners. So we're going to test, get the miner fan speeds, get the miner temperatures, right? Get an area, pick an area, usually pick 7, row 7, which is the hottest row. And then we're going to measure what it is right now. Then we're going to put the filter on, wait 30 minutes, and then measure what it is then. So after we restrict it all, after all these fans start picking up their fan speeds because there is less air flow, that little quarter inch, or let's just call it quarter inch filter, will be restricting some flow. And we want to see how much restriction is there. Because if the restriction is very minimal, like the restriction is, increase of 10% fan speeds, then that's fine, and we're just going to stick with that. But if the restriction is a lot more than that, right, then we're going to have to switch to a different tactic, which is to build a box. So that's our worst case scenario, is if this quarter inch filter or 0.375 filter does not give us the results we want, then the other option we're going to do is we're going to build a box. And if you watch our other videos on our channel from our other farm, you'll see that there's a box built there. And what that box does is you're going to have a box that extends like 2 feet from here, then it extends 2 feet from this container right here, 2 feet this way, like 2-3 feet, most likely 2, because it's going to be right under this roof, 2 feet, and then it's going to extend all the way across this whole entire container. And what that's going to do is it's going to increase volume. So instead of the miners sucking air from here, you can imagine it right here, they're sucking the air in there, they're going to be sucking air from a lot more volume. The volume is going to be out here. And on top of that, so we're going to increase the 2 feet volume from the entrance. Also, we're going to go 2 feet on the edges as well. So we're going to dramatically increase volume. And in that case, we don't need to use the quarter inch filter. We can go a little bit thicker, especially that when you build a wall like this, the wall is not as durable as like rebar. You see rebar pieces here. This is just going to really hold that stuff great. But the wall is going to be less durable than that. We don't have rebar on the wall. But you get the idea. So that's the option here. And what we're shooting for is we're going to be shooting for the quarter inch filtration system to be just enough, and we don't need to go past this. Because again, our goal here is to have the miners run and not have any issues. So when it gets to 80 degrees, we don't want the fans to be at 100%. All of these miners are in low power mode. So at 80 degrees, we want the fans to be at around, let's say 70%, 50%, at 80. So at like 90 degrees, we can have the fans at 80, 90%. And then when it's 100 degrees, that's when the fans hit 100. That's what we're looking for. And if we can get those results, then that's it. We don't need to go past that, because it never gets to 120 in this area. Obviously, it basically doesn't get anywhere past that in the world. So there's no point building a farm that can handle 150 degrees, because no one gets 150, right? No one's building farms where it gets to 150. That just doesn't really happen. So we have to shoot for what does happen in our area, and during the summertime, we get around 100 degrees on some days. That's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way. It's 100 degrees on some days, and that's what I have to shoot for, is to have those fans spinning at 100% when it's 100 degrees, and have the chip temps at 65 or less at that rating there. So that's what we're trying to do with this filtration system, and we're going to test it out, see how it goes. So right now, again, we have our test results for no filter. We wrote those down. We know what that is. Now we're going to be testing it with a quarter inch filter. It's going to be half of that one. And then after that, we're going to make a decision. Is that good enough, or do we need to build a box? So we're going to make that decision here in the next couple of days. But that gives you guys an idea of what's going on here. By the way, if you're building a farm, volume, air volume is what you have to shoot for, right? Keep that in mind. It's air volume, right? How much air can you get? If we're going to be restricting this, less and less openings, right? We're going to close off more and more. You're going to be restricting airflow. So even if you don't have a filter at all, and you just have like one little area that's open for airflow, you're going to be suffocating miners on different sides of your container. So let me give you an example. If we had just this opening here from this piece of wood to this corner right here, and the rest of the container was closed off, you would suffocate everything other than these miners directly ahead. You would suffocate miners over there. You would definitely suffocate miners over there. It would be literally impossible to run this farm, right? It'll be impossible. You will suffocate everyone. Everyone will overheat. All of these miners, you probably overheat about 90% of all the miners. So it's, even if you don't have a filter, you just remove the whole entire filter, you will still suffocate everything else. There's just not enough airflow going into it. The fans are not enough to create the suction needed, right? Those fans over there will not have enough force to create the suction needed to draw air from here over there. They're just not powerful enough. Now, if you're gonna force air into it, you know, so let's say you have like a big, huge turbine here, a big, huge fan, and you're gonna force air towards that opening. You're just gonna force it in there, then that will solve the problem. But you know, that's silly. No one should be doing that. What you should do is you should create airflow going into your mining farm, right? From all sides. You can see we have airflow coming in here. That's for those miners. Airflow here. That's for those miners. You know, this is open. That's for those miners. And so on and so on and so on. And it has enough air and everything's fine. Like right now, they're great. They're mining. Their fan speed's about 30% right now. It's 60 degrees outside. Their fan speed's about 20–30%. Very, very cool. Very cool. And that keeps everything just working nice. So we're going to be testing that out. Once we have those test results, we're going to switch over and apply those to the other containers we have here. You see that container over there? We're going to do the same thing down there once we have these test results. And this container over here, we're going to do the same thing down there. Most likely we'll remove that filtration system, put on the new filtration system with a thinner one, or build a box on all 3 of these containers. So we'll see how that goes. But I hope you guys liked the video. All right, this is a little detailed video. I'll give you guys an idea, especially for those guys out there that have not built a farm yet. And this is how you should do it. You're not going to notice these problems until it gets hot outside, right? If you're building a farm and it's freezing outside, it's snowing, you're going to be like, wow, this is easy. All these miners are so cool. I have this fat filter on, and I have this airflow that doesn't seem to be sufficient, but for some reason the miners are not overheating. I guess everything is great. It's great because it's freezing outside. That's why. It's great because it's snowing outside. As soon as you're gonna get to 60, 70, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, your whole entire mining farm will overheat, okay? We've been doing this for the past 8 years. We had situations like that where we built a farm in the very, very beginning. We're building out farms, and we had those situations. We had to immediately increase airflow, increase volume immediately, build a box and all that stuff to solve those issues. And they were solved pretty fast. You know, it was just a couple of days. But now that we have all that experience from doing this for 8 years, we can come to a mining farm and be like, all right, so where is this located? Where's the wind blowing? How many miners you're gonna have? How high are they gonna be stacked? What's the spacing between the miners? We can look at all those details and already give you basically a working solution, saying, all right, this is what you need for this farm and this location under these wind speeds with this type of height and width and all that stuff, and we can give you exactly what you need to make sure that even when it's 100 degrees outside in Fahrenheit, your miners are staying cool. Well, that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys like it. Don't forget to like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, goodbye.